I'm David Fraley.
And I'm Ethan Arnold, and this is our further oral analysis, language, and music as mass communication. In this project, we will stick to the standards and show how music and mass media uses language to entertain, inform, and persuade. By extension, we'll also address how music and popular culture reflects what society wants.
So the main text that we studied our project on was Popular Culture in the Aftermath of 9/11. And it was an essay written by Teresa Wiltz in the Washington Post, November 19th, 2001, which was a month and 8 days after the terrorist attacks. And after, she talks about how music at the top of the charts went from God Bless America to the Great Depression, an album, to Invincible, to Escape. And besides showing that America can decide on what kind of music it actually likes, it also shows that our culture can only be so impacted by 9/11. So once we've absorbed the impact of what happened, no pun intended, we could move on from 9/11 eventually, and comedians can go back to making terrorist jokes. Members of the pop community had to see the progression of our culture from being focused on 9/11 to letting the tragedy go, so they made music or movies that were relevant to that exact time so that they could be popular culture. And they had to have the right tone of patriotic but still being sympathetic. So this all shows how popular culture reflects what the public wants.
And after 9/11, nobody really wanted to be worried about another possible terrorist attack, so many people turned to entertainment to keep them distracted and satisfied. For most people, their form of escapism was through a great song that they really enjoyed and could zone out to. Most likely that oftentimes wouldn't be any offensive comedians like Louis C.K. or people who we find normal now. So when Wiltz talked to people of the pop community after 9/11, most of them wouldn't comment on how their genre would be affected after the disaster. The chairman of the Motion Picture Association, however, Jack Valenti, did point out that the public's desire to be entertained was always going to be a constant, so him and the film industry wouldn't have to worry about keeping their jobs or anything like that. So this shows that popular culture is always a part of our society, and that really the only thing that changed is how popular culture is delivered to us and what tone it carries.
But you also have to think not only tragedy influences our choice of pop culture. For example, Psy, as you guys know them, they got famous in the US because of Gangnam Style. I mean, how does that even happen? Because you don't know anything that they're saying. And the new song Gentleman was just performed on American Idol last Thursday, the finale. Big thing. It was pretty crazy. And nobody knows what they're saying in any of their songs. But just because it's foreign lyrics and the flashy performances that they do, it's appealing enough and it's exciting enough where we want it to be part of our pop culture, so that makes it part of our society. So that reflects how pop culture reflects what society wants. So in today's relatively recent culture, change has been a big topic and motivator. Motivational speakers often develop theses that are contrary to popular belief, as shown in the sleeper curve, which is a thing that we read. And it talks about how TV is good for us instead of bad like most people think. For another example, our first African-American president, Mr. Obama, was elected, which is change that's been reflected in our country for the past 100 years with rights.
One topic that is a major factor in our lives right now is gay marriage. And Macklemore recently came out with a song that reflects his opinion on the subject. So,
when I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I was gay, cause I could draw. My uncle was, and I kept my room straight. I told my mom, tears rushing down my face. She's like, Ben, you've loved girls since before pre-K. Tripping. Yeah, I guess she had a point, didn't she? Bunch of stereotypes all in my head. I remember doing the math, like, yeah, I'm good at Little League. A preconceived idea of what it all meant. For those that like the same sex, have the characteristics. The right wing conservatives think it's a decision. And you can be cured with some treatment in religion. Man-made rewiring of a predisposition, playing God. Oh nah, here we go. America the brave still fears what we don't know. God loves all his children. It's somehow forgotten, but we paraphrase a book written 3,500 years ago. I don't know.
And I can't change. Even if I tried, even if I...
As you can see, this is a very impactful song that has a lot of meaning. It shows a boy as he's growing up and struggling because he's gay and apparently has not told anyone about it yet. And later on in the movie, it goes on to show that he and his boyfriend eventually fight through all the snide comments that they get in the street and get married. This really appeals to the audience's feelings because it really shows the struggles that people who are gay have to go through, because it gives the point of view from the boy. And this really helps the audience sympathize with the plight that they have.
And of course the song is still entertaining because it's Macklemore. And if you guys have seen or heard Thrift Shop, you'll know Macklemore is all about entertainment. Pretty exciting stuff. This video is modern and very well made. The shots are really a mix of different styles. And the chorus is really good melody. The rap fits in with today's culture because rap has been really popular lately. But the lyrics are just as important as the actual music itself.
Same Love is also a very informative song. As you see in the quote, right-wing conservatives thinks it's a decision and can be cured with some treatment and religion. This highlights both the political and religious sides of this, showing how most people who are against gay marriage are very religious and often take parts of the Bible literally because of how the Bible says that all men are created in God's image, and God wasn't gay himself, so how could we be gay? So it is quite...
Alright, the next one is, have you read the YouTube comments lately? Man, that's gay. It's dropped on the daily. We become so numb to what we're saying. This is one of my favorite quotes in the song because it addresses the social media and internet that we so frequent. The language we use on the internet is less careful and it's more insulting than what we would use in real life. Our code of speaking that we use online is reckless and uncaring, and just like Macklemore says, we become numb to it. As we're so surrounded with technology and our lives become more technological every day, so if we keep using the word gay in a derogatory sense, then it's going to carry over into our real lives and it'll affect how we talk with our parents or with our friends at school. These quotes are here to contrast the previous quote because they talk about our society in general and not just the people on the other side of the argument. He uses the word we become so numb, to show that everybody is at least slightly prejudiced against gays because of our language, even if we don't notice it. The quotes offer what we as a people have done instead of just talking about beating the other side in an argument. Macklemore also displays a gradual shift from showing how others think the wrong way to what all people have done wrong and then to what we can do about it.
The next quote is, the same hate that's caused wars from religion, gender, skin color, the complexion of your pigment. And Macklemore puts this in to compare the struggles that gay rights has had to the struggles of African Americans with their civil rights and women with all the feminist struggles and suffrages in the early 1920s in that area. He's trying to say how when we look back on those times, we often laugh and think it's kind of just sad that we treated African Americans and women so poorly back then when really they didn't deserve it. And he's trying to say how in 50 years from now, if gay marriage becomes legal and gay rights become more accepted, that we'll probably look back on this time the same way we look back on the struggles of African Americans and feminism.
And it's a little cut off here, but the quote is, "A world so hateful, some would rather die than be who they are." And this is a really impactful quote because it refers to suicides committed by homosexuals or anyone that's been bullied just because they don't fit in or because they can't be themselves. Because our society ostracizes gays, insult turns to injury, and some people commit suicide, leaving everyone around them feeling horrible. Anyone that's been bullied can relate to this quote because they know what it's like to be made fun of or pushed around. And it sickens me when suicide is committed because I can't believe how we would let our world become so hateful that people would believe that death is better than being alive. And we have to make a change because the emotional pain inflicted on others because of bullying is one of the worst feelings you can ever experience. And we should never have to let one more person feel that way just because of who they love.
Alright, really the main objective of Same Love is to be persuasive and Macklemore is trying to get his listeners to see his point of view of the argument. And it's not like he's rapping about how high schoolers should have dress codes or not, or if teachers should hand out more or less homework. He's rapping about gay marriage, which is a very impactful and really direct problem that we have. And so it's uses a lot of persuasive language and quotes, as you see here. "Tears rushing down my face" is a very, it evokes a lot of pathos from people because generally when you see somebody crying, you also get sad and depressed and feel bad for them. And also he's talking about himself as a little kid, which most likely the saddest thing in the world is to see a little kid cry, which makes his listeners really feel and understand the point he's trying to get across.
The next quote is, "I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm." This could be the most important part of Same Love. It's the chorus, and it's sung by a girl who is a lesbian, and it's sung from a first-person point of view, which is different from what Macklemore is saying, because he's just saying if he was gay, but this is a direct analysis. The first-person point of view, it brings us closer to the subject because it's more personal, and the girl singing it is directly impacted by the decision of gay rights and what somebody would vote. The chorus also embodies the theme of the song, which is love. The first half of the chorus states that someone that is gay can't simply change who they are or who they love, it just happens. And if the whole idea of love, if love is to be happy, then why should you take away somebody's pursuit of happiness? The second part, "She keeps me warm," simply states that her love keeps her warm and happy. To her, that's all that matters. Someone that you can love that loves you back. Because she repeats "my love" 3 times in the chorus, it can also be interpreted as "my love," meaning that it's her love to give and not somebody else's choice.
If I was gay, I would think hip-hop hates me. This isn't the only time that Macklemore mentions hate in the song. He also has the lines, "If you preach hate at the service, those words aren't anointed. A world so hateful, it's the same hate that's caused wars," and other phrases such as that. He does this to categorize the differences between hate, which you can see through anti-gay marriage, and love, which is gay marriage and acceptance for all. So he does this to make it easier to see the differences between the good and the bad. Also, kids are walking around the hallway plagued by pain in their heart, and we as students, this really affects us because we walk around the hallway ourselves, and some of us even know the struggle that some people go through having to hide who they are so that they're accepted in school, which is counterproductive because most teachers and parents say that they want their child to learn and grow in school, and how can they do that when they're not allowed to be themselves? Also, the fact that he used "plagued" in this way is actually really strong diction because it portrays the pain that people have to go through having to deal with the hate of gay marriage as a real disease in society that needs to be cured.
And the last quote is, "Live on and be yourself." Macklemore really sums it up well with including both mottos of live and let live and be yourself. And the language is really sweet and sincere because it's so simple, but it's also a command statement because it tells us what to do. Like in the last verse of the song, he says, "We press play, don't press pause. Progress, march on. And a certificate on paper isn't going to solve it all, but it's a damn good place to start. No law is going to change us. We have to change us. Whatever God you believe in, we come from the same one. Strip away the fear, underneath it's all the same love. About time that we raised up." His language is really inspiring, and it's like the end of his speech, and this is his call to arms section where he really has to push and make people vote. And the vote that he's talking about is Referendum 74, which was a law in Washington to legalize gay marriage. And it passed by a margin of 7.4%. Now imagine the difference if Macklemore didn't make this song. Maybe the law wouldn't have passed. But he had to rely on his language to persuade maybe even a few voters in Washington, and he could make a difference that way.
As shown, Same Love exhibits the idea that musicians draw from events in popular culture and current societal beliefs to make music that is both impactful and relevant. And as our society is ever changing and always wants what's new, the fact that Same Love addresses gay rights is a very appropriate part of popular culture.
And as you can see, music uses entertaining, informative, and persuasive language to reflect what society wants right back at them. Thank you.